Alright guys, Simon here and we're playing more Trine. The game is getting significantly better, I feel like. Let's just load the game and then we can continue talking as we
As our
play through.
heroes climbed the stairs, a terrible coldness chilled them to the bone, and the sounds of the forge faded. It was quiet, too quiet, and then they heard the voice.
Like at the earlier parts of the game,
This doesn't feel good at all.
it really felt like, I don't know, like, it felt like I was just kind of blundering through it and, maybe they made it so that there's multiple ways to solve the puzzles, but it felt more like they intended for there to be puzzles there. And then I just used the magician's boxes and the swing and whatever, and I just kind of got through it without actually solving the puzzles. That's what it felt like for most of the early part of the games. But as we get it towards the end, I don't know if we're close to the end or not. Actually, I have no idea. But here, it's starting to feel like I'm actually solving these puzzles, because you can't blunder through them. You have to, for the most part, you have to do them to get through them. If that makes sense. Oh, hi. Was I supposed to fight him? I think I am. So once again, the game is going to present us with bosses that we don't understand.
Quickly, jump to the left.
We must get to the top.
Oh, it's a timed thing because the lava's gonna come up, I think. Or at least they tell you that, right? That's good. Whoa, hey, what the? Can I move that? Yes, I can. No, what a... Well, that was fast. Okay. This is new. It's also challenging. And this guy's... Oh, I see. So he kind of messes us up with this nonsense. Wait, come back. What are you doing? There's also loot. Should I care about the loot or not? The thing is, I'm only 1 point away from getting all of the, oops. I'm only 1 point away from getting all the levels anyway, so I feel like I don't really actually need all of the experience to get all the best stuff in the game. Oh, I just dropped it on myself, didn't I? Hey, look at all these secret things at the sides. So let me restart this.
As our heroes
Oh
climbed the
no, it
stairs,
doesn't put you back at the
a terrible
checkpoint. It actually
coldness chilled them
restarts.
to the bone.
It actually restarts.
This doesn't feel good
Okay,
at all.
so I think we should do the mage, because the mage can move. Because this guy is creating boxes and planks, and I can move boxes and planks. So maybe I should use more of the mage. Alright, let's do that.
Quickly, jump to the ledge.
We must get to the top.
Like this stuff here, like I can move this as well. Let me just push that guy away. Let me just move that away. And in fact, let me just jump this way this time, because we know that there's going to be a experience thing on this side. Can I? Yes, I can. Just push him off a little bit, and then kill them with that. That's good. Should I? Should I bother with that? Let me just... No, I don't think I should be bothering with that. I managed to kill the thief though. Bros, get out of the way. This is kind of awkward. Well, forget what I said about this being good. It's just kind of awkward, isn't it? It's different, but I wouldn't say it's all that good. Or maybe I should use the warrior. Maybe. Nope. Yeah, I don't... Oh my god, these jumps. Oh no, we have
As
to
our
restart
heroes
level every
a
time.
terrible coldness chilled them to the bone.
Why would you have to restart level? Okay. Okay.
This doesn't feel good at all.
Good idea. The execution could be better. I'm not changing the difficulty.
Quickly.
The warrior can punch through those. Maybe I should do the warrior so I can kill the skeletons as well as break these objects. There. But look at, like, you fall off the ledges, so look at this. You don't stick to the ledges at all. And so you just kind of slide off. Let me... That's not really helpful though, is it? Alright, so maybe this is the better way to do things. Let me just punch some of these guys a little bit. There we go, clean them out. And then get up here, and then up here. No, that thing is working out. Bro, are you serious? Alright, let's do that. What else should we do? Let's flip that over. And break that. No, bro. And, ouch. That's good health. Thanks, bro. So the gears are decoration. I don't have to... Okay, never mind. I don't actually have to worry about the gears. I need to move that. Then drop that back on him. Alright. And then I can get up there. Like, there's no checkpoints here. Can you jump off, please? Thanks. Those platforms are not solid. Alright, let me... triangle. And then... Nope, don't fall off the triangle. I got arrows too, bro. Alright, let me, kill him. Yeah, I see you. Crap. Well, that didn't work. But the game did quite helpfully put me above where I was before, which is an interesting game mechanic. I see you. What I could use right now? A checkpoint. Or a box. This game. Alright, how should I do this? Let's triangle or box. Let's triangle. And jump up here, and then... No, are you kidding me? Come on, wall jump. Just a little bit. Oh, look, a checkpoint. Nice. I've got a checkpoint here, so I don't actually care anymore, do I? Well, that was kind of good. It was actually, I thought it was quite good. You two, you know, race against the lava and all that. Am I supposed to be up there fighting the boss? I think I am. The lava is actually still coming up. I see. Bro, get out of the way. Alright, so let's stop messing around here and actually get up there. Where exactly am I going? What is that stuff? I don't know what that stuff is. Bros. How am I not hitting this guy? Thanks. Okay, we can't do that. Let's make a box. And then make another box. And then make a triangle. Alright, I need to... Are you kidding me? What am I doing here? Alright, thanks. Ah, this game. Can we please... How is he still not... Look at this bat! How is the bat not dead? Alright, please... Make a box. This is so... not amusing. Wow. And then it puts me here. I don't want to be here. Get out of here. Get that crap out of here. Wow. Alright, come on, come on. Box. Box. Get up. There we go. Stay there. Don't fall off. Box. Put that there. Box. Oh my god, there's a beam right on top of me. There's a beam right there. I can't... How do you see that? There's a beam right... Oh, and you can't hook onto it. It's a metal beam. Okay. Box. Box. Come on. What did... Okay, there's the... There we go. Can you just... die, please? Alright, now where am I? Okay, I'm going there, right? No! Bro! Alright, let's triangle. And jump on there, jump on here. That was more difficult than it needed to be. Okay, there's the Trine. That was a good shot. That was a good hit. Is he seriously dead? I don't actually have to fight him? No, come on. No boss fight? No boss fight. There must be a boss fight. Also, the sound is not loud at all. I don't know what happened to the music there.
As the evil vanished, the old king, or what little remained of his human soul, was set free.
Was that seriously the
The
end?
artifact slowly restored the balance of the world. Life and its joys returned to the kingdom. In the spring, a new king was elected.
Yeah, elected, you're right.
The new king offered rewards to our heroes. The knight refused to become the captain of the king's men. Instead, he finally followed his father's hopes and acknowledged his other passion, that of food and ale.
What
He
a
became
loser.
the king's royal ale provider.
What a loser.
The thief was offered riches beyond her wildest dreams, but she felt a longing to go back to the forest ruins. The king granted her wish and gave her reign over the forest, where life slowly returned, restoring it to its former splendor.
Gave her the whole forest.
As for the wizard, he finally understood that the road to success did not have anything to do with the fireball spell. He wasn't sure what it was, but saving the kingdom certainly helped. After being married a few years to a lady named Margaret, she gave birth to triplets. A charmed moment, many said. We also do not know whether the father felt pride, shame, or both, when each of his children mastered the fireball before the age of 1. despite everything, they all lived happily ever after.
It still doesn't matter. The story could have been completely different, and the gameplay could have been exactly the same, and it wouldn't have mattered. Okay, it's not bad. Let's start with that. It's not bad. It's better than a 5 out of 10. It's better than a 6 out of 10 even. Maybe a 7. Maybe I'll stop at a 7. It's not great. It's not bad. There's potential there that wasn't quite realized, I feel like. The puzzle design, it was too sloppy at the start. I mean, there was not enough structure there. You spent about 2/3 of the game, or when I played through it, I felt like I played 2/3 of the game just kind of messing around and being successful despite not having to do anything, or not having to be very successful, or rather, I don't know what I'm saying, being successful without having to do very much to get it, and that wasn't interesting. It was kind of just, I'm just doing stuff. Like why am I don't know, I could be doing some other stuff. I don't have to be doing this stuff. After that, it was actually slightly challenging. When we got to the lava bits, and you couldn't just put boxes everywhere, you can't just put planks everywhere, you kind of have to, you know, figure out where to put these things. And there were fewer ways to you know, to basically bypass the puzzles. Like, I can't think of any other way to put it. I mean, I spent 2/3 of the game bypassing the puzzles instead of solving them. Or that's what it felt like to me. The combat was completely crap. I'll just be honest there. Like, the game basically just spammed skeletons at you, and it was just not. There was no real strategy. There was no real tactics even. It was just kind of, you spam arrows. You know, like trying to react and trying to block and then trying to counterattack or trying to parry or trying to maneuver yourself to shoot arrows. Like, if you try to block, half the time you fail, because the moment the skeleton starts swinging, it'll hit you no matter what. Like, you can't, once they start swinging and you weren't blocking, you can't block it. And if you swing and they swing and you actually hit them first, they'll still hit you. So the recoil doesn't affect their hit animation or their attacking animation. So either you are blocking all the time and then only stabbing them when they've finished attacking and failed because they hit your shield. Then you hit them once and then you block again. And that's the only effective way to block. What happens there is you kill them so slowly and they just keep spawning. You saw it, right? Like they like spawn 2 or 3 on both sides of you all the time, and so then doing that defensive blocking thing doesn't actually help you at all, because then you have other skeletons behind you hitting you anyway. So really the most effective way to fight these guys is to spam and just kind of kill them quickly and not worry about getting hit so much, because I mean, you got unlimited lives anyway. Or better yet, once you're the archer and you've got 2 or 3 arrows at once, just spam that, and then that's gonna take care of the enemies quite well. So then the combat just becomes dumb. It just becomes you kind of spamming. And you know, trying to position yourself as the archer doesn't really work, because you don't stick to platforms, you don't stick to edges. You kind of slide off edges quite a lot too. Like, you know. So then if you're moving around and trying to fight skeletons, chances are you're gonna fall off platforms and fall into acid and fall into lava and crap like that. Or just kind of fall into spikes and all that kind of nonsense. So it's better to just kind of find a place where the skeletons have to come towards you and then just keep spamming arrows, which is dumb. Right? It's not smart combat, it's not skillful combat, it's just spamming. So I mean, I think if they did the combat differently, if they just kind of programmed the combat a little differently so that the recoil is more severe on the enemies. So if you hit them, if they're swinging but you hit them first, they actually recoil and they don't hit you. Or if you swing and they swing at the same time, they don't finish the attack and you have priority. Or they don't, or if you don't just kind of spam 5 or 6 skeletons coming at you both sides, so then you have to spam, right? Have the combat more strategic, so that they're coming at you along a specific path, and then you have to kind of prepare for them and deal with them. Then the combat might be more interesting, and then it might actually be worthwhile to put the combat in. At the moment, it just becomes these kind of tedious moments where you have to spam arrows in between the times when you're solving the puzzles, which is like it doesn't add much to the game, right? The puzzles towards the end of the game, the puzzles were quite interesting. I mean, they were basically obstacle courses for the most part. Lava, spikes, and then the balls, and then the flippy things, and then the turny things, and then all that sort of stuff. And you have the planks and the boxes and the triangle thing, and then you have arrows, and then you have the and the grappling hook. And you basically have to use these tools to get through the obstacle courses. And that's interesting. And in fact, it was quite good, towards the end. Earlier on, they were also obstacle courses, but the problem with that was, quite often early on, the levels, like maybe you have, an upper path, a middle path, and then a lower path. But they're all easy. Like the lower path, there'll be spikes, but then you just kind of put boxes in the spikes and you just jump over anyway, and then you get through. And then if you want to get the experience, to get the loot, you have to kind of backtrack, and then go to the upper path, and then do that to get to the loot, which you kind of want. But then that's easy too, because the upper part is going to grapple up and swing across, and grapple up and swing across, and then maybe make a few planks and then swing across. And that's not difficult neither. So, and I know the thing with puzzle games is it's difficult to balance the difficulty. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not just that it was easy, it was that it seemed like there was no direction to it. It seemed like there was no, there was kind of there's no stated challenge. It's not like, here, this is the puzzle, or this is the thing you have to solve. Now solve it. It was more like there's a path and there's a bunch of stuff in the way. I'm not really explaining this real, but it just felt like this is a path. It's not that difficult. You kind of just have to walk from point A to point B, and then there's loot along the way. And it just wasn't satisfying. You just kind of do it. You don't feel like you've accomplished anything. But later on, it was really good. The final level, I'm going to give it a pass because, it's a final level, you can turn up the difficulty a little bit. Although it was, kind of more annoying than anything. Again, you were grappling with the hordes of skeletons, you were kind of trying to get your way past the sliding off platforms and things like that, so it was more... it was more fighting the game mechanics more than solving the puzzle, it felt like. It really did. Like when you jump around, maybe... is it me who's bad, or did the characters really kind of just hit the corners of platforms and then just bounce off a lot? It felt like it did. Like you have a beam, and you think the thief would just kind of jump up and land on it, but you hit it slightly off-center and then just kind of bounce off. Which is, I don't know, why did you... That's not a good thing. Yeah, I wouldn't. Like, games don't do... You shouldn't do that in games. Because, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't... I would say that a lot of better games in the world don't have you doing that. And then... I don't know, like, I don't entirely agree with the puzzle design either, although it was better in the end. I feel like a good puzzle is where you look at the pieces, and then maybe you kind of put the pieces together a little bit, but then you should, if you should be able to just kind of look at it, and then eventually figure out the solution, and then do it. Whereas, here, like, often, especially early on in the game, it's very obvious what the solution is, but then you're fighting the mechanics to execute that solution. So the grappling is like it's not very accurate, and then the jumping on platforms, you bounce off corners, and you try to draw. You saw me trying to draw the plank, right? Like, draw a box, draw a plank, and the planks often would just not appear. I don't know why. Like you draw a line and it doesn't appear. You draw a line, doesn't appear. And then you draw a line and it appears. And it just has to be, I don't know why though. I mean, obviously it's in the wrong place, or it's in a place where the game doesn't think you should be able to put a plank. But it's not obvious, and it just seems like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The bosses, if you can call them that, the mid bosses were just completely not well done. I mean, the giant skeleton, it swings at you, and you have to hit him in the head to damage it. But there was never any clues that you should hit him in the head. Likewise, the other thing with the crystals on the back, you're supposed to hit him in the back with the fire arrows, or I guess the hammer, so not the sword and not the normal arrows. Again, the game never tells you that, so you just kind of die a few times trying out different things until you find the right thing. And even when you find the right thing, and you hit the guy, and you do damage, the game still doesn't really tell you that you've done damage. It makes a different sound, but it's got so much health that you kind of do it 3 or 4 times and it's still not dead, so you're still not sure whether you're doing damage or not. It's just making a different sound, right? So there's no health bar, there's no real indication that the enemy is getting hurt until you just kind of do it over and over again, not knowing what you're doing, and then you kill it. So it was like that combat is also a bit dumb. Like, it doesn't communicate to you. It's dumb in that sense. It's not speaking to you, basically. It's like it's not communicating to you that you are supposed to be doing that, or that you're making any sort of difference until the thing dies, and then you realize, oh, okay, I was doing the right thing. So it's dumb in that way. What else? There's a second game. There's a Trine 2, and I intend to play that as well. And I'm actually quite interested now to see if they figure out this stuff in Trine 2 and they manage to make it better. I fear that they won't. I haven't been paying attention to these names, by the way. I didn't see. Have they gone to the game testers yet to see how many people tested the game? I don't know. I'm hoping that in the second game they would kind of solve all these things. Oh, and the macro thing, like the overall thing. The fact that the story doesn't have anything to do with the puzzles, and the puzzles don't really have anything to do with the characters, but it kind of does. Okay, so I mean, especially towards the end, you could see that you really did need the warrior and the thief and the mage. Earlier on, it didn't really feel that way. You kind of just look. So the story didn't really matter to the gameplay at all. And I've said this before in other videos and in other games. It's really good, or I think it's really clever when game designers tell the story through the gameplay, and the final level of Braid is one that I really like to kind of point out. I guess Portal in parts also do that. I'm thinking especially in Portal 2, when GLaDOS tricks you or tries to trick you, or when Wheatley tries to trick you, they're not just talking to you, they're also manipulating the environment, and so they're using the game level to kind of try to push you around as well. So they're not just communicating to you through the words and through the story, but they actually, they're actually made to look like they're manipulating the test chambers to try to help you or try to stop you and things like that. And so that your interaction with the game environment and the game levels is intertwined with the story that the game is trying to tell. And that makes sense. If you're trying to tell a story through a game, then you should have the gameplay tell the story as well, and that seems reasonable, I think. That seems like a good idea to me. In this game, there's none of that. None of that. Like, the 3 guys touch the Trine, and then they go off to find the other 2 Trine pieces, but none of it mattered to the puzzle solving, which is all just kind of bridges and spinny things and planks and boxes and spike balls and grappling hooks. None of that had anything to do with the Trine or the artifacts. At the very end, you had the final boss kind of creating these obstacles as you're trying to jump up. I think that's the only part where the story kind of came into the gameplay a little bit, because there was like an enemy, right? There was a character, but even then, that character was never introduced in the whole story beforehand. So right, you have this kind of flying skeleton guy creating boxes and planks to stop you. But before that, through all the levels and through all the storytelling and all the cutscenes and the narrator talking, there was never any mention of this enemy boss. Like, they never talked about him. You never saw him. You never saw any sign of him. You never hear the narrator talk about this kind of flying skeleton thing doing things to the world. It was always this kind of formless evil that's kind of corrupting the world. They never actually gonna give it a form, which is this flying skeleton thing. So again, like, even there, like, they just kind of introduced this character in the game without introducing him in the story. Like, you see how the game play and the story is just completely separate? And I think that's just a missed opportunity. It's like the story writer and the game designers didn't actually talk to each other. You know, it's like they just kind of did different things. Or they just kind of made the game and then hired the writer to write something. And they're different people and they didn't really talk to each other. That's what it feels like. Look, here we go. We got the gameplay and level design, and we got the story writer. There's two people. And it's almost like they didn't actually talk to each other at all throughout the entire thing. Or they didn't really want to accommodate each other, or didn't really want to work together. They just kind of did separate things. Which is a shame. Because it's just, I mean, why tell a story through a game if you're not going to use the gameplay to tell a story? You just write a book or something, draw a picture, or make a movie. You don't have to make a game if you're not going to use the game to tell the story. Still, having said all that, and having been quite negative throughout the entire series of videos, there were good things in this game. I mean, the latter third, the puzzles in the latter third were quite good. I mean, the artwork was really nice, although it was a real shame that it didn't actually tie into the story, really. And it didn't tie into the gameplay at all. In fact, it hindered the gameplay. I don't think that was intentional. Like, when the level, or when the artwork actually blocked your view of the enemies. I don't think that was intentional, and if it was, it's a bad idea, I'll tell you that much. Like, it's just kind of annoying. It just feels like the game's being annoying to you. So why did you do that? But the artwork, like, it looked good. It didn't help the gameplay. I mean, you remember in the underwater bits, everything's just black, everything's just kind of grey. And you couldn't see the spike balls in the water, you couldn't really see where the openings were or where the corridors were, it's kind of just dark. And I understand that in the real world, if you dive into water inside a cave, it actually is dark, I know that. But it's a game, you wanna facilitate the gameplay, not just make it look like dirty water. I mean, dirty water is easy, but it's not good for the game, right? And wars and the camera was kind of bad, especially during the combat. The camera never took into account where the enemies were and what you were shooting at. And of course, it was easier to shoot at the skeletons when they're off screen, because they don't move when they're off screen, right? Or they kind of do, but they don't do. Sometimes they don't move. So it's easier to fight them with the thief when they're off screen. So that's why I did the whole game long. But then you're just kind of standing there shooting arrows off the edge of the screen. And you can't even see what you're doing. And you know, if skeletons spawn around you that the camera doesn't show you, a lot of times there'll be kind of loot above you or loot below you, or you'll be thinking about going up and down, and then the camera just doesn't do anything. You can't see anything. So, I mean, you saw me spend a lot of time just kind of jumping around, throwing the grappling hook up to see if there's anything above where the camera was showing us. Like, I just kept doing that because, you know, I don't know, there's loot there maybe. I don't know, maybe there's loot. And then, you know, the camera doesn't show you what's below you, and so then there'd be these pits, and you just kind of, well, what's down there? So you just jump in and then you die. Oh, great, thanks. Or you jump in and there's loot. Well, that's great. Why did you tell me there's loot? And so the camera doesn't help you. In fact, it's just kind of, the camera's just not good. It's just not good. Like, so, and then sometimes when you're near the edge of the level, and you're trying to kind of maneuver, and you kind of triangle jump and swing around and do all that, the camera just kind of just weirds out and just kind of swings around for no reason. Well, I mean, I can understand they have some sort of, you know, algorithm for having the camera track the player, and it doesn't actually pan down so much because it's kind of partly 3D, right? So it'll tilt up and down a little bit, or side to side a little bit. But you know, when you have it in the game like that, and then some of the games and some of the things some of the things you do in the game makes it so that the camera isn't right for that, and it just feels like they didn't, you know, test the edges of the game enough. Maybe, you know, like when you test the game, it's one thing to test the intended path to see if that works, but then it's a different thing to test the edges of the game. You know, trying to break the game so that, you know, when you sell it and have players play. Is this thing just looping? It is, isn't it? It is. The credits are just looping. Okay, let's just stop talking soon. But you know, you test for two things. You test for the intended gameplay, and you test for the unintended gameplay. And Bethesda is somewhat famous for doing this, and I guess Valve is about. Valve is just famous for testing in general. But Bethesda have these internal competitions for speedrunning their Elder Scrolls games. And that's how they find the glitches, that's how they find the bugs. And in Morrowind they didn't do it very well. In Oblivion they did it better, but eventually, you know, speedrunners found glitches and managed to kind of break that game as well. In Skyrim, they did it much better. In Skyrim, you know, I've watched, you know, speedrunners play that, and then the guy who was playing it, I forgot his name, but he basically said, well, you can speedrun Skyrim, but it's pretty boring. What he means is, there are very few glitches to exploit in the game to speedrun, so it's boring for him to speedrun. It's a fun game, it's a great game, but it's boring to speedrun because you can't break it. And that's because the guys at Bethesda have tested the game, and they've tried to break it, and in doing so they found all the gaps, and then they filled all the gaps to make sure you can't break the game. So then when they actually publish it, then the speedrunners, they're gonna go through and, oh well, we can't break it, that's kind of boring. But that's the thing with, I mean, especially with puzzle games, you wanna have people test the boundaries of this thing and try to break these puzzles, try to, you know, cheat their way through the puzzles, because if you make a puzzle that's really kind of easy to just bypass, then what the hell is the point of making that puzzle in the first place if people are just going to bypass it, like I did for most of this game. All those spiked pits, I'm just going to bypass them with boxes, I don't care. But then, you know, it makes it so that it's pointless to have that there. If you're just going to, you know, put boxes down and not jump across the gears, if you remember that part in the game. So, you know, I don't know, like they put in this challenge, okay, well, here's a challenge, you can do it, and then I don't need to do that. I can just get past it much easier if I just kind of put planks down and boxes down. Why would I waste my time on these gears? So, I don't know, it felt like these guys didn't do that enough. Or maybe they did, and they thought it would be a good idea not to be too tight, not to be too strict earlier in the game, and I disagree with that decision. If it was a decision, then I disagree with that decision, because in my opinion of game design, the earlier parts of the game are the parts that you really have to control, because you want the player to learn certain things, because they come in with no knowledge of what the game is, so you need to explain to them certain things about the game mechanics, explain to them the expectations of what you think they should be doing in the game. But then if you give them too much freedom at the start, then you're not telling them what this game is about, and so then they just kind of stumble around, not understanding what exactly you're trying to get them to do, and then it's just, I mean, a puzzle game, you can do that in a sandbox game. This is not a sandbox game, you know. This is a puzzle game. If this is a sandbox and it just lets you kind of make boxes and planks and all that, then it's fine, you can do that. But it's a puzzle game. There are puzzles here. But if you make puzzles that you can bypass, then well, then why am I even playing this if I'm just gonna bypass the puzzles? So I feel like the latter parts of the game is better. Okay, I should stop talking now because I've been talking for quite a long time. And I thought the credits, I was just talking to the credits end, but the credits just don't end, so let me just escape. Path to New Dawn unlocked. What does that mean? What does Path to New Dawn mean? Is that a bonus level? What is Path to New Dawn? Is the lava coming up? It is, isn't it? Well, it's... the ground is shaking. I don't know if the lava's coming up or not. I don't feel all that much urgency. I think it is though. Let me just make my way through this. I think this is a bonus level. Yep, the lava is coming up. So we're gonna okay, don't fall down. What are you doing? What are you doing? Jump up. Okay then. Let's really rock. Really, just gonna kill me like that? What is that? What is that purple? Oh, it's more secrets. Do I need to collect all these things? The 10 purple potions? Alright, rock. Can you not do that? Thanks. I can't make that jump. Ah, this is not fun. Look at this. I'm not gonna do this because look at these platforms, man. It's like you just bounce off the corner. How's that fun if you just... They give you these challenges and then you just bounce off the corner. And I thought... Okay, one more time. I'm gonna try this one more time. Never mind. Can I get him to revive if I walk back to the... Oh, I can't. Good. Alright, let's box that. Oh my god. Like, it's just so awkward. Trying to make it through these platforming bits. Can I? Nope. Nope. Come on. Come on, you can... Alright, here we go. That's better. What is going on here? What is going... Look, you just kind of slide off the platforms. Alright, what is this? This is bypassing it. And bypassing that again. And there's a purple thing there. Exploding barrels? Really? Exploding barrels. Interesting. What is... Is there stuff here? No, that's just a... It's a lie. Oh my god. Just don't stick to platforms at all. Alright, what are we doing next? We're doing nothing next. Okay. There's a purple potion down there. This is not really helping. Okay, there we go. Wall jump. Can we? Huh, there's a really big rock here. Let's push him off. I guess we're not going that way. Alright, let's go this way. Oh look, minecart. There's no platform there. Alright, I'm gonna go. No. No. Alright, that's it. I'm not playing that. See you guys. Trine 2 is coming up.